Welcome back to our summary study of the Brhad Bhagavatamrta. We are in Volume 2 and Chapter 4, Vaikuṇṭha, the Spiritual Kingdom. In this chapter, we'll discuss Vaikuṇṭha and its inhabitants, the glories of the deity and superiority of Ayodhyā and Dvārakā. Now we left off with Gopakumar. He went to Mahakalapur, spoke with Vishnu, some of his associates, and the Vishnudutas. And they encouraged him to come back to Vrindavan. So now he's back at Vrindavan, and he's speaking with Mathura Brahman. He says, I wandered alone, observing on the earth a splendor I had never seen anywhere, taking up residence in a forest as if in a daze I forgot everything from before. His experience that he just had with Lord Shiva and the Vishnudutas. In the course of my playful wandering, I came to Mathura, Sri Madhupuri. There I heard the Bhagavatam and other scriptures from the local Brahmins. After rightly understanding the meaning of bhakti in its 9 forms, I came to this forest, and as soon as I did, I met my Guru. He continues, receiving his mercy, which revealed to me the most confidential secrets. I followed his instructions by practicing bhakti yoga without interruption. So now when he was in Mahakalapur, the Vishnudutas, they revealed to him that his guru was Vishnu himself. Whether at this time he actually forgot that also, because of being in a daze, it doesn't say. Once I thought I saw the Lord of my life standing before me, and I ran to take hold of him. Overwhelmed by love, I fainted and fell to the ground. Now he's been chanting, he's got this mood of ecstasy is built up, and now he's got this spruti from the love that he's experiencing. So then what happened was these Vishnudutas, they arrived there and they picked him up and they put him on an airplane. And as he comes out of his daze, being fainted, he's shocked at seeing where he's at. And he sees these associates, but he actually remembers at this point seeing them before. And now they start to offer him some new clothes. And they say, we will give you a new body suitable for Vaikuṇṭha. But Gopakumar, he refuses their offer. And instead, by their influence, my own body, born of Govardhan, assumed the qualities and beauty like theirs. So his body actually transformed spiritually, even though he maintained his youth as a cowherd boy and dress. So they took him to Vaikuṇṭha. And when he got there at the first gate, they told him just to wait here, and we'll go inside first and we'll come back. And just behold all the wondrous glories you're about to see here. So Gopakumar was sitting there waiting, and he would see different individuals, residents of Vaikuṇṭha, come and they enter to the gate. Some would change their forms as they entered into the gate. Some would look like the Supreme Lord, had the same features as him, four-armed form, and not understanding if it was the Lord or not, he would offer his obeisances to that person. And that person said, no, I am not the Lord, I am the Lord's servant. And Gopakumar said it's impossible to describe all the things that I saw there in Vaikuṇṭha. But he would see someone he would think was the Lord, he'd bow down, and then he would get back up. And then finally, those other residents that brought him there, they came and they took Gopakumar into one gate after another, and Gopakumar continued to see very remarkable and wondrous things. He also noticed that there's different doorkeepers, and these different doorkeepers, he noticed that they had supervisors and managers. So he kind of wondered about this different types of hierarchy that he was seeing. And then, as they bringing him closer to the inner chambers, they told him about how he could actually recognize the Supreme Lord. And they also told him about certain etiquettes when he sees the Lord. You should act in a particular way. So they gave him these last-minute instructions. When Gopakumar saw the Lord, when they brought him here from a distance, he forgot everything that these Vishnudutas had told him. And he rushed towards the Lord, calling out, "Oh, Gopal, my life and soul!" But then he was caught and restrained by other residents there. It said he fainted and fell on the ground. And then when he regained his consciousness, he heard the Lord say that the best of merciful persons, Gopakumar said that he heard, "Then I heard the Lord, that best of merciful persons, tell me in a deep, gentle voice, please come back to your senses, dear boy, and come here quickly. My dear friend, you have passed many lifetimes without paying any attention to me. I kept wondering, will it be this lifetime that he turns and looks at me? Will it be this lifetime, or will it be this lifetime? So many lifetimes waiting for you to turn around and notice me." At one point, I decided to become your guru. So now he's hearing it directly from Mahavishnu that he became his guru to help Gopakumar. He said he went against his own system and interceded on Gopakumar's behalf. He said, "Today, you have at last fulfilled the desire I have harbored for so long. Please nourish your happiness and mine by staying here forever." So Gopakumar would wander around this glorious place, and he would hold inside him all his spontaneous emotions. In Vaikuṇṭha, it's awe and reverence, the Vaidhi platform. And Gopakumar was experiencing spontaneous mood. Sometimes, he said, I got the chance to fan the Lord, and then sometimes I got the chance to play my flute for the Lord. And they would sometimes address the Lord as Gopal. And some of the residents, when they were not in front of the Lord, they would request them, "You shouldn't address our Lord that way. That's not the Lord of Vaikuṇṭha. There's a different mood here." And then others would say, "It's fine, that's okay." And then others responded, "Krishna is so kind to his devotees that Sankirtan of any of his activities is glorious and beneficial and satisfying to our divine master." Now, Sanatana Goswami, in his commentary on this verse, this text 107, he kind of unravels this, unpacks it a little bit. He says, "Among the residents of Vaikuṇṭha, now speaking with Gopakumar, we can discern three different groups with three different mentalities. The first group consider the informal pastimes of Vraja incompatible with the mood of Vaikuṇṭha. The second are more liberal, and the third ardently refuse to discriminate against any of the Lord's pastimes." So Sanatana Goswami continues. Now Gopakumar's, in the beginning, when Uttara was speaking with her son Pariksit, she acknowledges when she was asking the question that she understands that there are different forms of prema and bhava in Vaikuṇṭha. As we mentioned, there is Gana Bhaktas, Sadhana Bhaktas, and then there's the Prema Bhaktas, Prema Para Bhaktas, and Prema Tura Bhaktas. And so these different 5 types of moods and prema are in Vaikuṇṭha. But at the same time, there's no hierarchy. Everyone equally loves the Lord, and the reciprocation is the same. But there is an appearance of this hierarchy. Now, Gopakumara is kind of experiencing because he's a little bit different from everybody else. He's dressed as a cowherd boy. Now, Sanatana Goswami continues his commentary. He says, the devotees in Vaikuṇṭha have these different attitudes for two reasons. First, bhakti takes on the different qualities in accordance to the various disciplines performed to achieve it, such as the cultivation of knowledge. Second, the personality of Godhead, for his various pastimes, requires different moods in his devotees. So variety is important. There's a lot of variety. And this is being explained. So sometimes, Gopakumara said, I would see the Lord, and then sometimes he would go elsewhere. When I asked what the Lord was doing on these outings, everyone would keep these facts from me like they were some privileged secrets. No one would disclose anything clearly. Then, at the very moment I inquired, the Lord of the universe would appear again, putting our distress to an end and expanding our joy and happiness. Now, Gopakumara again is thinking about a little bit, is this the right place for me as Vaikuṇṭha? Is there something missing? And he's trying to convince himself of this place. And he says that, have not the slightest doubt, I would tell myself. There is no attainment more desirable than living in Vaikuṇṭha. So why even raise this question? So here he's thinking, how could anything be better than this? But at the same time, he feels there's something missing. Thus I resided in Vaikuṇṭha, sometimes joyful, sometimes disturbed. And then one day, Narada Muni came to me in a secluded place. Gopakumara trying to make sense of it. Now has Narada Muni there to help him. Narada Muni wanted to know the reason I appeared distressed. On one hand, this is the highest attainment. I still had a desire to see my worshipful Lord's pleasure pastimes. Now, Narada Muni explains Vaikuṇṭha, and he explains Bhakti Yoga and the personal method of worshiping the Lord. And he kind of explains this hierarchy, what in Vaikuṇṭha, what Gopakumara is experiencing. He says, now we're at text 193, he says, the hierarchy among devotees is only produced according to their own forms of service and according to the happiness each devotee derives from his own relationship with the Lord. In this section, they're talking about the sadhaka siddhas and nitya siddhas. Sadhaka siddhas, they attain Vaikuṇṭha through their sadhana, and nitya siddhas are the eternal associates from the Lord. And sometimes they're described as the sadhakas as new or recent associates. And oftentimes, new associates, they show up, they come there. And they're sometimes described as outsiders or insiders, depending on if they serve the Lord of afar or nearby. These differences of the sadhaka and nitya siddhas are explained. Narada Muni explains that dedication and determination will bear its fruit. He also explains the different levels of bhakti, the process of sadhana. He says persons who properly worship Krishna in his deity form never disrespect Krishna's devotees. And if because of being absorbed in worship they accidentally do so, the devotees make light of such offenses and praise those worshipers. He says if materialistic worshipers never give up their worship under any circumstance, their dedication will purify their hearts. Then, by the mercy of Krishna's devotees who see only the good qualities of others, the faults of such worshipers will be exhausted. And in time, those worshipers too will become first-class devotees. Pure devotees, after all, think that seeing the Lord constantly, attaining bliss from taking part in his pastimes, and relishing subsequent pleasures are all fruit of bhakti and its root as well. By the mercy of Prema, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Controller, becomes subordinate to his devotees. This, in effect, deprives him of independence. For this reason, he rarely gives prema. The Supreme Lord is controlled by love. That prema he gives is the same love that in return controls him. He comes under the control of that prema. So therefore, it's described that it's rarely given, and it's also difficult to achieve. Because if you give yourself to someone, you want that person to be able to not abuse that relationship. So therefore, we see here, Narada Muni is explaining to him that it's rarely achieved, what he's trying to achieve. So Narada Muni tells Gopakumar about Ayodhyā and then about Dvārakā. He encourages him to continue. And he says that while going to there, you should perform non-sankirtan as it has been described to you. Now Gopakumar's thinking, well, I have to go now and get permission from the Lord to continue on my journey, as he'd done many times before in places he went. But Narada Muni says that by his order, I have come here to see you. From my mouth, you have received his order to continue on your journey. And that the Lord right now is not, he's traveling somewhere, he's not there present, and you wouldn't be able to see him even if you went back. Now, Narada Muni tells them that if, after you have seen the two lotus feet of Lord Ram, your hankering to see your Lord is unappeased, then Ram, whose heart is soft from overflowing compassion, will happily send you to Dvārakā. Now, one step after another, each place he goes, he keeps thinking, it can't get any better than this. Now he's going to Ayodhyā, and he's going to experience association of Lord Ram. So Gopakumar sets off, and he's chanting the Lord's names. And after some time, he runs into some monkeys, and they gather around him, and they start bringing to him. And as monkeys do, they're very playful, and they sometimes try to grab his flute or a stick or his bullhorn. And eventually, they bring him to Hanuman. And Hanuman, he offers him his obeisance to Hanuman. And Hanuman very respectfully, affectionately encourages him to come. And he brings him to Lord Ram. And he sees Lord Ram at a distance. And therefore, as he always does, he offers his obeisances, and he faints in the beauty and the splendor of Lord. Hanuman leaps and takes his position beside the Lord. And then Gopakumar regains his consciousness, and he sees Hanuman there, and he sees Sita, and he sees Lakshman, and he sees the beautiful form of Lord Ram. And Lord Ram encouraged him, come closer. And Gopakumar comes closer to the Lord. And Lord Ram says that you should stay here for some time. So Gopakumar reciprocated, and he stayed there for a while, and he observed the different pastimes of the Lord. Sometimes he would see Hanuman fanning the Lord. Sometimes he would see him massaging the Lord's feet. Sometimes they would be carrying an umbrella over the Lord. And so therefore, he experienced these different pastimes. But at the same time, Gopakumar was not happy. Gopakumar, speaking to the mature Brahmin, he says, finally, Lord Ram, whose heart is tender with unlimited compassion, and who knows the mind of everyone in this world, consoled me with words of gentle affection. Go to Dvārakā and be happy, he ordered, and he sent me off at once, together with the chief of bears, Jambavan. So Jambavan's going to escort him to Dvārakā. Now that ends Volume 2 and Chapter 4, the summary study of Brhad Bhagavatamrta by Sanatana Goswami. Now we begin with Volume 3, which will be Chapter 5, and we'll see where Gopakumar enters Dvārakā, and he meets the Yadavas, He meets Uddhava, and he meets Vasudeva Krishna. And also, Narada Muni again appears, and he gets more instructions from them. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you come back for the next video of our continuation of our study of the Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Hare Krishna.